All right, as I wrote about at NBCSportsBayArea.com, the kicker competition really, it seems like it ended before it even began. And a lot of that had to do with, as the 49ers are talking about now, the injuries that they've had during training camp. They just felt like they couldn't keep two kickers on their roster, even on their 90-man roster, as Kyle Shanahan laid it out on Monday. They have 13 players who are out of practice on Monday. They have another 6 players on the PUP list, and the Denver Broncos are coming to town on Thursday for a joint practice. So, as I mentioned, kicker competition appears to be over. Jake Moody, I think as we expected all along, would be the kicker to open the regular season. Greg Joseph told on this day that he was being released. So a lot of movement as the 49ers tried to get some guys back just to practice. And here is a list of some of the decisions they made. The signings: Bradley Ane, he's a defensive lineman. Bruce Hector, he's a defensive lineman. They bring in Fabian Moreau, he's a cornerback, and also safety Jalen Mahoney. So what is also interesting is that when I look at what the 49ers sent out as far as their Isaiah Prince, we talked about that one earlier. Isaiah Prince, we talked about that before the start of practice, an offensive lineman. So what the 49ers did do was they released Trey Avery, they released Isaiah Nayor, and they released Mason Pline, the tight end, and Tanner Mordecai, quarterback, as well as Greg Joseph. So Nayor, he got some momentum, I think, early in camp. He had a really good practice rep going down the field and catching the ball in down the field against tight coverage. I talked to him last week. He looked like he was doing all the right things, but ultimately the 49ers decided that they've seen enough, and so they release him. But of course, the news of the day is Jake Moody is now the 49ers' unopposed kicker. And I talked about how the competition ends before it really even began, because on Saturday, 49ers special teams coordinator Brant Boyer, when I asked him about the competition, he said, I think they're really close. I think they're both doing a great job. There's not a ton of separation there. And then he said, it's just a matter of who's going to execute when the games come down to it. So it didn't even reach that point. Now, of course, 49ers do reserve the right. They could bring back Greg Joseph, assuming he isn't signed by another team. But again, no big surprise. The 49ers are going to be going with Jake Moody to open the season by all appearances. Last year, Moody, of course, really struggled. Only 24 of 34. His 70.6 percentage accuracy ranked 33rd among NFL kickers with 10 or more field goal attempts. He was 13-14 to open the season, and then I think the 49ers brought him back too soon after the high ankle sprain, and he just made the 11 of 20 field goal attempts. So, again, it's a situation where the 49ers decided they had other needs than to keep a second kicker, just like they feel like they have other needs than to keep a third quarterback. They actually have 4 quarterbacks because Curtis Rourke, the draft pick, remains on the NFI list, and he counts against the 90-man roster limit. But the 49ers released Tanner Mordecai. They might try to bring him back, but right now they're going with Carter Bradley, the son of Gus Bradley, 49ers defensive assistant coach. And I think probably the idea is there that Carter Bradley does spin it very well, good arm and all that. They weren't planning on signing him when they brought him in for a tryout earlier in the week, about a week ago, in order to work out some of the wide receivers and the running backs, but they kept him around. But I also think what this does is it makes it more likely that when the 49ers start the regular season, they'll have just the 2 quarterbacks on their 53-man roster and not a third quarterback, and they could keep that third quarterback on the practice squad, because I don't think any team's going to claim Tanner Mordecai and have him on their 53-man roster. I think the same goes for Carter Bradley. No team's going to claim him and put him on their 53-man roster, but I do think that this enables the 49ers to have a situation now where they can keep another defensive lineman or another linebacker or defensive back, just go one player deeper at any position. So, right now, Carter Bradley is the third quarterback out there on the practice field. Now, part of why 49ers feel a crunch in their rosters because they had several guys out on this day of practice. Kyle Juszczyk, as I talked about, he got stepped on the other day. He's actually stepped on his Achilles, and it's sore, but he's day-to-day, so Juszczyk isn't expected to be out long-term. However, the news is a little bit worse with Kevin Givens and Sam Okawanu and Isaac Gurindo. Givens sustained a pectoral injury, and he's going to be out a while. Perhaps the 49ers will be able to bring him back at some point during the season. So Kevin Givens out more long-term. Sam Okawanu is also expected to miss a couple of weeks with a groin injury. So those are two defensive linemen there. That's why the 49ers bring in a couple of defensive linemen. And then running back Isaac Gurindo, talked about the shoulder injury that he sustained during a special teams drill on Saturday. He is going to miss a couple of weeks with that shoulder injury. So Evan Anderson, defensive tackle, he's also out perhaps a week with a knee bruise. Jair Brown had his ankle flare up, the same ankle that he had a procedure on during the offseason. That flared up. He's expected to miss a little bit of time. And then Cam Inman did ask a question about Juwan Jennings and his condition and whether it truly is a calf injury or if it's more of a business decision of why he's staying out. And Kyle Shanahan said, you can ask him that question. Well, we are not allowed to ask players who are injured. The 49ers don't make those players available to us. But what Shanahan said was, he tells me it's his calf injury or his calf, and he says you got to be delicate with those calves. So that's the rundown. 49ers look to have made a decision with Jake Moody again. Not a big surprise. I felt all along that Jake Moody would be the guy to open the season, but that they would have Greg Joseph's number on speed dial. That still could be the indication or the situation that faces the 49ers. I don't think Greg Joseph is going anywhere. So if Jake Moody, when the regular season starts, if he struggles and the 49ers are like, he's lost his confidence, we could be better with the other guy, I still think that they could go back to Greg Joseph. But at this point, that is totally on Jake Moody. If he does well, he's going to be the 49ers kicker this year and well into the future. If he struggles again, I think the 49ers will be more likely to have him on a short leash and make that change. Okay, now I just want to go over some of the 49ers situation from training camp. Deommodore Lenoir was back out of practice. Dallas Flowers is somebody that took a lot of first-team reps. He's a long cornerback that the 49ers like. He's getting a really good opportunity. A really spirited competition in the one-on-one drills, cornerback and wide receiver. I really, Upton South continues to impress. Those are some really good contests that he has going on against Russell Gage. Also, I saw some good things. Ricky Pearsall and Dallas Flowers having some good competition as well. As for practice, the very first play of practice, Brock Purdy tries to hit George Kittle down the field. Fred Warner is there to break that thing up. That was the very first play of practice. That was one of the few footballs thrown Kittle's way that ended up hitting the ground. Kittle, big day, very obvious that having that chemistry going with Brock Purdy. Also another good day for Ricky Pearsall, including a deep pass that he caught from Mac Jones, and that was against the coverage of Trey Brown, Upton Stout, and Dallas Flowers, all right around there. So looking at the PBUs, another good practice for Jacob Robinson. Been talking about him a lot, the undrafted rookie from BYU. Upton Stout with a PBU on this day. Let's see here. Those are some of the things that Upton Stout, another play where Brock Purdy hit Pearsall on the sideline, and there was probably some point after the play, it was a clear completion, but Upton Stout ends up taking the ball away from Pearsall. So up and stout, making a lot of plays. And I think in my mind, he's really put himself in position to be the 49ers starting nickelback this season. Um, those are some of the plays that kind of stood out to me. Um, Oh, here's one for you. Well, there are a couple guys. Amir Abdullah catches a wheel route, running back who's come in with the injuries at the running back position. He caught a wheel route far down the field. Good play for him on a pass from Mac Jones. And then practice ended with Carter Bradley hitting Tariq Owens. So Tariq Owens doing some good things, especially in the last few days. The undrafted rookie who came in last year was injured during camp, ended up coming back to the team on the practice squad after having a hand injury. But a really nice play to end practice, like literally the last play of practice. Carter Bradley deep down the field, couldn't see who was covering him on that play, but Tariq Owens showing up. So that's the news. Kind of a newsy day in 49er land with a lot of roster situations, a lot of comings and goings here on practice 10 for the 49ers. But certainly the news of the day is that I'm going to do my kicker competition 2025. That's my voice for the kicker competition. It is over, at least for now. Jake Moody is on path to be the 49ers kicker to open the regular season. Where it goes from there, that's anybody's guess. But for now, Jake Moody will be the guy. So again, thanks for watching this video. Be sure to check out all my work at NBCSportsBayArea.com. And that is it for now.